The Earth Alliance vessel Horizon drifted silently through the darkness at the edge of the solar system. Captain Frank Harris stood on the bridge, his weathered face lit by the soft glow of control panels. After 20 years in space, he thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. "Captain, I'm picking up an unknown object at coordinates 227 Mark 43, said Officer Gray Porter, his eyes fixed on the scanner. Harris moved closer. "Natural or artificial?" "Definitely artificial, sir, and it's big." Lisa Martinez, the ship's science officer, joined them at the console. Her dark hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her eyes narrowed as she studied the readings. "The energy signature doesn't match anything in our database." Harris nodded slowly. "Looks like we've got first contact. People, alert Earth Command and bring us to yellow alert." Nice and easy. The crew moved with practiced efficiency as the Horizon changed course to intercept the unknown vessel. Nobody spoke much. They had trained for this moment, but training was different from reality. As they drew closer, the alien ship came into view on the main screen. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. A massive structure of what looked like black metal and crystal, shaped like an elongated star with 5 points. "It's beautiful," whispered Amy Peterson from her communication station. "And potentially dangerous," added John Miller, the chief security officer. His hand rested near his sidearm, a habit from his years in the military before joining the Earth Alliance. "Let's not jump to conclusions," Harris said firmly. "Amy, broadcast standard greeting protocols on all frequencies." For 3 tense hours they waited. The alien vessel remained motionless, seemingly observing them. Then, without warning, the communications console lit up. "Captain, they're responding." Amy's fingers flew across her panel. I think it's a translation matrix. They're learning our language in real time." A voice filled the bridge, strange and melodic yet understandable. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We are the Viridian Collective. We come seeking refuge and friendship." Harris exchanged glances with his officers before responding. "This is Captain Frank Harris of the Earth Alliance. We welcome peaceful contact. May I ask why you seek refuge?" There was a pause before the reply came. "Our homeworlds have been destroyed in a great conflict. We are the survivors, searching for a safe haven. We have traveled far and learned much about your kind. You are compassionate beings. We hope you will show us mercy." Lisa Martinez frowned at her readings. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations from their ship. The pattern is strange, almost pulsing." Harris nodded acknowledgement, but kept his focus on the diplomatic exchange. "How many of you are there?" "We are few now," came the reply. "Barely 10,000 souls. We require minimal resources in space. In exchange, we offer knowledge and technology beyond your current capabilities." Over the next few days, the Horizon maintained position near the Viridian vessel, while Earth governments debated the proper response. The aliens shared limited information about their culture and technology, always seemingly grateful and humble. "I don't trust them," Miller said to Harris in the privacy of the captain's quarters. "Something feels off." Harris sighed. "Your concerns are noted, John, but we have to give peace a chance. The Alliance Council has already voted to offer them temporary settlement on Mars." "And what does your gut tell you, Frank?" Miller pressed. Harris looked out the viewport at the alien ship. "My gut tells me to be cautious, but also that turning away refugees without cause isn't who we are." 1 week later, 3 more Viridian ships arrived. They were welcomed with diplomatic ceremonies broadcast throughout Earth. The aliens expressed profound gratitude as humanity offered resources and established a settlement zone on Mars. Only Lisa Martinez still worried about the unusual energy readings she had detected. But her concerns were filed away, deemed unimportant in the excitement of humanity's first peaceful alien contact. No one realized that deep within the Viridian ships, hidden chambers contained weapons and communication arrays aimed at distant stars. sending one simple message. They have welcomed us. Begin preparations. 6 months had passed since the Viridians arrived. Their settlement on Mars had grown from a small outpost to a sprawling complex. Earth governments proudly pointed to this successful first contact as humanity's entrance to the galactic community. Amy Peterson sat at her communications station aboard the Horizon *, now assigned to patrol Earth's orbital defense grid. Something on her screen caught her eye. "That's odd," she muttered, adjusting her headset. For the third time this week, she had detected an encrypted transmission coming from the Viridian settlement. It wasn't going to Earth as expected, but toward deep space beyond Neptune. She recorded the signal and took it to Captain Harris. "Sir, I think you should see this." Harris reviewed the data with a frown. "How long has this been happening?" "I first noticed it about 2 weeks ago. The transmissions are getting more frequent and longer in duration." Harris nodded. "I'll bring this up during tomorrow's meeting with the Viridian ambassador." On Mars, engineer Sam Russell wiped sweat from his forehead as he finished repairs on a cooling system near the Viridian compound. He had been working with the aliens for months, supposedly exchanging technical knowledge. But something wasn't right. "Hey Bill," he called to his coworker. "Have you noticed how many minerals they're stockpiling?" Bill shrugged. "They said they need them for their environmental systems." "Yeah, but that's way more titanium and uranium than environmental systems would need." Sam glanced around nervously. "And I saw inside Sector 7 yesterday. They're not building the medical technology they promised. Those looked like weapon components." "Be careful what you say," Bill warned. "Remember what happened to Joe when he asked too many questions, suddenly transferred back to Earth for health reasons?" The next day on Earth, Captain Harris and Lisa Martinez attended a diplomatic meeting with Zex Toril, the Viridian ambassador. The alien's tall, slender form towered over them, its silvery skin reflecting the light. "Ambassador," Harris began carefully, "we've detected communications from your settlement to deep space. According to our agreement, all transmissions should be transparent." Zex Toril's face displayed what humans had learned to interpret as a smile. "Simply messages to the remainder of our scattered fleet, Captain. More survivors who may join us. We should have informed you, and I apologize for this oversight." Lisa studied her handheld scanner discreetly. The ambassador's body temperature had risen slightly, something she had noticed happened when Viridians were being evasive. "And how many more of your people are expected?" she asked. "A few thousand, perhaps. Nothing that would strain the generous resources you have provided." After the meeting, Harris and Martinez walked through the government building's garden. "He's lying," Lisa said once they were alone. "I know," Harris replied. "But without proof, the Council won't listen. They're too excited about the technology the Viridians have promised." "Which they haven't delivered," Lisa pointed out. "Just vague demonstrations and promises." Back on Mars, Sam Russell sneaked into a restricted area of the Viridian compound. He had bribed a guard with rare Earth whiskey to look the other way for 5 minutes. Using his engineer's access card, he slipped into what was labeled as a cultural center. Inside, he froze. The room contained row after row of what looked like stasis pods. Each held what appeared to be a sleeping Viridian. But they were different, larger with armored skin, and what looked unmistakably like built-in weapons where hands should be. Sam took quick pictures with his personal device and was about to leave when the lights suddenly brightened. "Humans are so predictably curious," said a Viridian voice behind him. Sam turned to find 3 Viridians blocking his exit. One was Zex Toril, who had apparently returned from Earth. "I was just lost," Sam stammered, "looking for the environmental control room." "Of course you were," Zex Toril said smoothly. "I believe it's time we accelerated our plans. The humans are growing suspicious." The other Viridians nodded in agreement. "What should we do with this one?" one asked, gesturing at Sam. Zex Toril studied Sam for a moment. "Take him for processing. And signal the fleet. We move in 3 days." Sam Russell never made it back to his quarters. No one reported him missing for nearly 24 hours. By then, it was too late. The attack came without warning. At 300 Earth Standard Time, every defense satellite in orbit suddenly went dark. Communications across the solar system faltered and died. On the bridge of the Horizon Asterisk, alarms blared as Captain Harris rushed in, still pulling on his uniform jacket. "Report," he barked. "Sir, we've lost contact with Earth Command," Greg Porter said, his face pale in the red emergency lighting. "Defense grid is non-responsive, and we're tracking multiple launches from the Mars settlement." Lisa Martinez worked frantically at her science station. "Captain, long-range scanners are picking up hundreds, no, thousands, of ships entering the solar system. They're Viridian design, but much larger than anything we've seen before." Harris stared at the tactical display. They had been played for fools. "Battle stations, alert any Earth Alliance ships still in communication. We need to regroup at." His words were cut short as the ship rocked violently. The lights flickered. Direct hit to engines. Amy Peterson called out, "We've lost main power." "Return fire," Harris ordered. John Miller worked the weapons station. Targeting systems compromised. Firing manually. The Horizon Asterisk shuddered as it released its payload toward the attacking Viridian vessels. A few hits landed, but they were hopelessly outnumbered. Another wave incoming. Lisa warned. Harris made a quick decision. All hands to escape pods. Abandon ship. "Sir," John questioned. "That's an order, Miller. Someone needs to warn Earth about what's happening." As the crew rushed to evacuate, Harris moved against the flow toward engineering. The ship wouldn't last long, but if he could overload the engines manually, the explosion might take a few Viridian ships with it. Lisa grabbed his arm. "Frank, what are you doing?" "My job," he said simply. "You're acting captain now. Get the crew to safety and find a way to fight back." He pressed his command codes into her hand. "These will give you access to the Europa outpost. It's our best hope." Their eyes met for a brief moment. Then he turned and continued down the corridor. Lisa knew there was no time to argue. Everyone to escape pods now. The crew crammed into the small vessels designed for emergency evacuation. Through the viewport, Lisa watched as more Viridian ships surrounded the crippled Horizon Asterisk. As their pod launched, the Horizon Asterisk erupted in a massive explosion that engulfed 3 enemy vessels. "He did it," John whispered beside her. Lisa swallowed hard. "Set course for Europa. Stay low and quiet." As their small pod limped away, they witnessed the full scale of the invasion. Hundreds of Viridian warships descended toward Earth. The planetary defense systems, designed to protect against asteroids and theoretical alien threats, stood silent. "It was all a setup," Amy said, her voice breaking. "They used our hospitality against us. They study our defenses while pretending to be refugees." John nodded grimly. "And we gave them everything they needed to disable those defenses from within." For 3 days, they traveled in silence, avoiding Viridian patrols. When they finally reached Europa, they found other survivors had made it as well, barely 30 people from various ships and outposts. Inside the hidden facility built into Europa's ice, Lisa accessed the secure communications array. Reports from Earth were sporadic and grim. Major cities had been hit first. Governments had fallen within hours. Viridian troops, the same weaponized soldiers Sam Russell had discovered, were rounding up humans for processing. A message from Mars showed Sam, his face bruised but defiant, broadcasting from a hidden location. "They've taken the colony. They're not refugees. They're an advance force. This has happened before on other worlds. Earth was just the latest target. Fight back. Hide. Survive. We can't let them." The transmission cut off abruptly. Lisa looked at the survivors gathered around her. "We're at war," she said, "and we've already lost the first battle." 5 years passed. Earth fell under Viridian control. Humans who surrendered were put to work in mines and factories. Those who resisted were hunted down. Lisa Martinez stood at the viewport of the hidden base on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Her once neat hair now hung loose around her shoulders, streaked with gray despite her young age. A long scar ran down her right cheek, a souvenir from a close call with Viridian patrol ships. "Captain, the supply team is back," John Miller said, entering the room. He too had changed, harder, leaner, with a cybernetic replacement for the arm he had lost during a raid 2 years ago. Lisa turned. "Any casualties?" "None. And they brought someone. A scientist from the Mars facility. Says he worked with Sam Russell." Hope flickered in Lisa's eyes. "Sam? Is he?" John shook his head. "No word. But this guy, Dr. Alan Brooks, he says he has information about Viridian weaknesses." Meanwhile, on Earth, former police officer Kate Wilson crouched in the ruins of what had once been Chicago. At 43, she led one of the largest resistance cells on the planet. Her team moved silently through the rubble, avoiding the floating sensor drones the Viridians used to track human movement. "Package secured," whispered Ben, her second in command, as they reached a basement entrance hidden beneath debris. Inside, a dozen thin, scared civilians waited. Kate's team had rescued them from a Viridian processing facility. "You're safe now," Kate assured them, though safety was a relative term these days. "We have food, water, and medical supplies." An old man stepped forward. "Is it true that there are others fighting in space?" Kate nodded. "The resistance extends throughout the solar system. We're not beaten yet." Later that night, as the refugees slept, Kate studied maps of Viridian patrol routes on a battered tablet. Her radio crackled, a secure channel used only for emergencies. Groundhog to Eagle came a voice she recognized as her scout Danny. "Go ahead," she replied. "Found something big at the old university lab, some kind of Viridian research facility. They've got humans working there. Scientists. One of them slipped me a note. Says they're forcing him to study Saturn's rings. Something about the radiation." Kate frowned. "Saturn. Why would they care about that?" "Don't know. But he seemed desperate to get the information out. Said it could be a weapon against them." Back on Titan, Dr. Alan Brooks explained his findings to Lisa and the other leaders of the space resistance. "While I was their prisoner, I noticed something," he said, pointing to charts displayed on a makeshift screen. "The Viridians avoid certain radiation frequencies naturally occurring in Saturn's rings. When exposed, their skin begins to break down. Their communication systems also malfunction." Lisa leaned forward. "So Saturn's unique radiation pattern is harmful to them. Could we weaponize it?" "With the right equipment, yes," Brooks nodded. "But we'd need access to their central command systems to deploy it effectively. Their ships and soldiers are shielded, but if we could overwhelm their main systems." John crossed his arms. "Their mothership orbits Jupiter. It's the most heavily guarded object in the solar system. We need more information," Lisa decided. "And we need to contact the Earth resistance." 3 days later, a small stealth ship left Titan bound for Earth. Lisa had chosen her best pilot for the mission to make contact with Kate Wilson's group. The message was simple. "Hold on. We found a weakness." As the ship departed, Sam Russell was being marched into a Viridian command center on Mars. 5 years of imprisonment and torture had not broken him. When the guards weren't looking, he studied their technology, memorized their routines, and planned. Today, he had finally managed to steal a small component from a communication device. Hidden in his ragged sleeve, it might be the key to contacting the resistance, if any still existed. Hope was a dangerous thing to hold on to, but it was all they had left. Dr. Alan Brooks hunched over his workbench in the hidden laboratory beneath the ruins of the Mars colony. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he carefully adjusted the device in front of him. It had taken months to build with their limited resources. "Will it work?" Sam Russell asked. His escape from the Viridian labor camp 3 months ago had been nothing short of miraculous. Now, thin but determined, he watched the scientist with hopeful eyes. "In theory," Brooks replied. "This device should amplify the radiation frequency found in Saturn's rings. When activated near their control systems, it should disrupt their hive mind communication." Sam nodded. "And without their hive mind, they can't coordinate." "Exactly. Individual Viridians aren't particularly smart. Their power comes from their connected consciousness." A soft chime interrupted them. The secure communication line from Titan was activating. Lisa Martinez's face appeared on the small screen. "Status report," she asked without preamble. "The disruptor is ready for testing," Brooks answered. "But we still need access to their central node to deploy it effectively." Lisa's face was grim. "We may have found a way. Our agent inside their command structure has sent new information. On Earth, Kate Wilson met the shuttle that had arrived from Titan in secret. The pilot handed her a small data chip. "Captain Martinez says this is crucial," he said. "We need to get it to your tech team immediately." Later that night, Kate studied the information with her advisors. The data showed detailed schematics of the Viridian mothership orbiting Jupiter. "According to our inside source, the central node that controls all Viridian communications is located here." Kate pointed to a chamber deep within the massive ship. "If we can reach it and deploy Brooks' disruptor device, we might be able to break their control over their forces." "But how do we get on that ship?" asked Ben. "It's surrounded by their best defenses." Kate smiled for the first time in days. "That's where our secret weapon comes in." In another part of the settlement, a woman with long dark hair sat alone in a small room. Amy Peterson had been presumed dead after the initial invasion. In reality, she had been captured, and due to her communications expertise, forced to work as a translator for the Viridians. What they didn't know was that she had been feeding information to the Resistance for years. Now she studied the rotation schedules of the mothership's security systems, looking for a window of opportunity. Back on Titan, Lisa briefed her team. "The plan is high risk, but it's the best chance we have. Using Amy's security codes, a small team will infiltrate the mothership during their system maintenance cycle. We'll have exactly 27 minutes to reach the central node and plant the disruptor." John Miller, now her second-in-command, frowned. "Who's going on this suicide mission?" "I am," Lisa said firmly. "Along with you, if you're willing. We'll also need Kate Wilson from Earth. Her combat experience will be essential. And Sam Russell. He knows Viridian technology better than anyone since his time in captivity." "And once we plant the device?" John asked. "Dr. Brooks will activate it remotely. If it works, every Viridian in the solar system will lose their connection to the hive mind simultaneously." The plan took shape over the next few weeks. Small resistance cells across the solar system prepared for coordinated strikes once the Viridian command structure collapsed. Dr. Brooks continued refining his device, testing it on small Viridian tech they had captured in raids. Each success brought a little more hope. Sam spent hours studying the mothership schematics, memorizing every corridor and access point. The small component he had stolen months ago had proved invaluable in understanding their security protocols. The night before the mission was set to begin, Lisa stood alone in her quarters. On her desk sat a photo of the original crew of the Horizon *. Frank Harris in the center, smiling confidently. "We're almost there, Frank," she whispered. "We're going to take back our home." Earth hung in the distance, visible through her small window, beautiful, blue, and waiting to be reclaimed. The stolen Viridian transport glided silently toward the massive mothership. Its outer hull had been modified to match authorized supply vessels. Inside, Lisa Martinez, John Miller, Kate Wilson, and Sam Russell checked their weapons one last time. "Amy's signal should come any minute now," Lisa said, her voice steady despite the tension. "Once she disables the security protocols, we'll have 27 minutes to reach the central node." Kate adjusted her body armor, cobbled together from scavenged Viridian technology. "And if we meet resistance?" "We avoid it if possible," Lisa replied. This isn't about killing Viridians. It's about reaching that node. Sam checked the disruptor device, now small enough to fit in a backpack. Brooks says once we plant this, we'll have 3 minutes to clear the area before he activates it remotely. John monitored the ship's communication systems. Incoming transmission, he announced. A series of beeps followed. Amy's code. That's it. Lisa stood. Security systems are cycling down for maintenance. We're clear to dock at Service Bay 12. The small ship approached the enormous mothership. From this close, it resembled a city in space, stretching for miles in every direction. Their transport docked with a soft hiss of equalizing pressure. Suits on, Lisa ordered. Though the Viridians breathed similar air to humans, the team wore stolen Viridian environmental suits as disguise. They moved through the docking bay unchallenged. Amy's intelligence proved accurate. The maintenance crews were minimal during this cycle. The few Viridians they encountered barely glanced at them, assuming they were authorized workers. Following Sam's memorized route, they navigated through service corridors and maintenance shafts. The ship's interior was a maze of organic-looking metal and pulsing light conduits. 2 levels down, Sam whispered. There should be a transport tube ahead. They found the tube, a vertical shaft with gravity-manipulating technology that allowed for rapid descent through the ship's levels. One by one, they stepped into the field and dropped smoothly to the level below. 15 minutes left, John warned, checking his timer. As they exited the transport tube on the lower level, a group of 4 Viridian guards rounded the corner. For a moment, both groups froze in surprise. Run, Lisa shouted as the first guard raised its weapon. Kate pushed forward instead, firing her weapon with deadly accuracy. 2 guards fell immediately. John engaged the third, while Lisa and Sam sprinted ahead toward their objective. Keep going, Kate called after them. We'll hold them here. Lisa wanted to stay and fight, but the mission came first. She and Sam raced down the corridor, hearing the sounds of combat behind them. There, Sam pointed to a massive door ahead, pulsing with blue energy. That's the central node chamber. Lisa placed explosive charges on the door. Stand back. The blast was controlled but effective. As the smoke cleared, they entered a vast spherical room. In the center floated a glowing orb of energy, the central node that linked all Viridian minds together. Plant the device, Lisa ordered. I'll watch the entrance. Sam moved toward the orb, carefully removing the disruptor from his backpack. As he approached the energy field, the air around him seemed to vibrate. Humans, a voice echoed through the chamber. How persistent you are. From a side entrance, a tall figure emerged. Unlike the other Viridians they had seen, this one had ornate markings covering its silvery skin. Lisa recognized him immediately from briefings years ago. Zex Toril, she said, raising her weapon. The Viridian High Commander spread his arms. The famous resistance leader. I've heard much about you, Lisa Martinez. Keep working, Lisa told Sam without taking her eyes off Zex Toril. You cannot stop what has already been accomplished, Zex Toril continued. Your planet is ours. Your people are ours. You should have been wiser. Wiser? Lisa asked, buying time as Sam worked behind her. Yes, centuries ago, your ancestors encountered our scout ships. They could have destroyed them, but they chose mercy. They let them go. Zex Toril's mouth formed what might have been a smile. That mercy gave us time to study you, to learn your weaknesses. Your ancestors' compassion was your undoing. Lisa's finger tightened on her trigger. Is that why you claim to be refugees? To exploit our compassion again? It worked perfectly, Zex Toril replied. And now history repeats itself. You stand before me, and again you will fail. Zex Toril moved closer, his long fingers flexing toward a weapon at his side. Did you really think we wouldn't detect your approach? Your friend Amy Peterson has already been captured. Lisa kept her gun trained on him, creating a distraction while Sam worked on the node behind her. You've underestimated humans before. That's why I'm standing here now." A commotion erupted at the entrance as Kate Wilson burst in, her armor scorched from battle. Blood trickled from a cut above her eye. "We need to hurry. More guards are coming." Zextoril seized the moment of distraction. He moved with surprising speed, striking Lisa's weapon arm. Her gun clattered to the floor. Kate fired, but Zextoril dodged with inhuman quickness. "Sam, status." Lisa called, rolling away from a second attack. Almost there. Sam worked frantically at the base of the energy orb. 30 more seconds. Kate engaged Zextoril in hand-to-hand combat. Despite her training, the Viridian's superior strength pushed her back. With a powerful blow, he sent her crashing into a control panel. She slumped to the floor, struggling to rise. "Where is John?" Lisa asked, helping Kate to her feet. "Holding the corridor," Kate gasped. "He won't be able to keep them back much longer." Zextoril approached Sam, who stood defenseless beside the node. "Step away from that, human." "Sam, run," Lisa called, diving for her fallen weapon. But Sam didn't move. Instead, he smiled at Zextoril. "Too late," he said, pressing the final sequence into the disruptor. "It's armed." Zextoril roared with anger and lunged forward, impaling Sam with a blade that extended from his arm. Sam gasped in pain, but held onto the device, keeping it against the node. "Lisa," he coughed, blood spilling from his mouth. "Get out." 3 minutes. Lisa fired repeatedly at Zextoril, forcing him away from Sam. Kate, now back on her feet, grabbed Sam as he collapsed. "We need to go," Kate urged, supporting Sam's weight. Lisa backed toward the exit, continuing to fire at Zextoril. "Is it done? Will it work?" Sam nodded weakly. "Brooks will activate it remotely once we're clear. The radiation will spread through their entire network." They retreated to the corridor, where they found John Miller fighting a desperate holding action against Viridian guards. One of his legs was badly injured, but he had created a barricade that was holding for now. "We need to move," Lisa ordered, taking Sam's other arm as they retreated down the corridor. John looked at Sam's wound and nodded grimly. He handed Kate his remaining ammunition. "You three go. I'll hold them here." "John." "No," Lisa began, but he cut her off. "There's no time to argue, Captain. Someone needs to make sure they don't disarm that device." Behind them, Zextoril emerged from the node chamber, rallying his guards for pursuit. Lisa met John's eyes and saw his determination. She clasped his shoulder. "It's been an honor." "Likewise," he replied. "Now go save humanity." The 3 retreating humans heard the sound of renewed battle behind them as they reached the transport tube. Sam's breathing grew more labored. "I'm not going to make it," he whispered as they reached their ship. "Don't talk like that," Kate said, helping him into the vessel. They launched from the mothership just as the 3-minute countdown ended. From the viewport, they watched as a strange pulse of energy spread across the massive ship. It raced along the energy conduits, growing brighter as it expanded. Lisa's communication device beeped. "Brooks to Martinez. The disruptor is activated. Get clear of the blast radius." Their small ship accelerated away as the pulse wave expanded outward from the mothership. On the screens, they could see Viridian ships throughout the Jupiter orbit suddenly lose formation, drifting aimlessly. "It's working," Kate whispered. Sam smiled weakly. "The hive mind is broken. They're just individuals now, confused, leaderless." Lisa watched as the mothership's lights flickered and systems failed. Reports began coming in from across the solar system. Viridian forces everywhere were in disarray, unable to coordinate. In Sam's final moments, he looked at Lisa. "Zextoril said we showed mercy once. Was that our mistake?" Lisa took his hand. "Compassion isn't a mistake, Sam, but neither is defending ourselves. We spared them once. There won't be a second chance. As their ship approached the waiting resistance fleet near Titan, Lisa activated the broadcast system. Her voice reached every human outpost and hideaway throughout the solar system. "This is Captain Lisa Martinez. The Viridian hive mind has been broken. Earth, this is your chance. Rise up. Take back our home." Across Earth and Mars, humans emerged from hiding, overwhelming the now disorganized Viridian occupiers. The road to recovery would be long, but humanity had won its second chance.